Most men want more clarity, more respect, more control over their lives, but few know how to get it. Welcome to the Bro Coach Podcast with Dennis Procopio, the founder of Man Up Life Coaching and the man behind thousands of transformed lives. Not red pill, not therapy, just the evolved man's blueprint for strength, presence, and purpose.
Hello and welcome to the Bro Coach Podcast. I'm Dennis Procopio. I am the host of the Bro Coach Podcast, and I am here with my co-host, Charles Ledbetter, who is also a man who has come through Man Up Life Coaching, which is my organization, and has his own coaching practice, in addition to being an entrepreneurial phenom in his own world. We're both men, we're both husbands, we're both fathers. And today on episode 7 of season 2, we are going to discuss feeling like roommates in marriage, how couples slowly drift apart. Now, I'm going to say that again. You're a man. You're in a relationship with a woman. You have been together for a while now. When you first started, she got the impression that you were this fun-loving, romantic guy who liked going on dates and listening to her talk for hours, and was really either empathetic or just a great listener. And you got the idea that she was just this chill, fun-loving chick who didn't mind if you went and hung out with your friends or, went and played Call of Duty. She was always ready to go. The sex was hot and it was often. And somewhere along the way, something changed. Charles, have you ever had that experience in your life?
Yeah. I mean, more or less. I don't know, but I know plenty of men who have, and it's typically people get complacent, man. We come out of the gate hot because it's like, I'm trying to earn your love, right? And so we're dressed up, we're fresh, we're taking care of everything, we're planning dates, we're just, our best sense of humor, we're willing to go the extra mile to make things happen and sacrifice just about anything just to have the relationship and get to see her again. And then over time, once you got her, it kind of changes all of a sudden, right?
Absolutely.
And I've seen it happen in both directions. The same thing for women, right? I mean, they come out wearing their best red dress and dressed to the nines and looking all fine and doing everything they can and rubbing your back and, and then somewhere down the road, all you get is PJs, right?
Yeah,
exactly. The makeup goes away, and then right, and then it's like, and then as you find out for the first time that, oh my God, my girlfriend shits. I didn't know that. Oh, I'm married to this woman. I didn't even know that she farted, and now she just farts in the bed with me all the time.
Real life. I mean, real life. That's right. When I remember being younger, and if you weren't raised with sisters, thankfully, I don't know if I should say thankfully, but a part of my experience was living with a single mom. And when you live with a single mom, you, like it or not, you're going to learn a lot about women. And if you live with sisters, you're also going to learn a lot about women. But there are a lot of guys out there who come to coaching, and you're not wrong. Some of their ideas about what women are really weirdly idyllic. And it's a real shocker for them to move in together and to discover her bras hanging and underwear or whatever hanging in the shower, or her used feminine products in the in the toilet, or she forgets to flush and it looks like a CSI scene, and dudes aren't used to seeing blood in the toilet or whatever, and
Who died in here?
right, are you okay? And so we learn about each other, and in a best case scenario, that that close proximity is intimate, and it makes us love each other more. Then again, though, bathrooms have doors for a reason. There is a certain amount of privacy that we all sort of need, and there's a certain amount of mystery that we look for from a person that we're dating that isn't there when you've been with somebody for a significant period of time, and all of a sudden the situation has changed, and as you're saying, everything, for better or for worse, about this person. You see them when they haven't dyed their hair and done their makeup. They see you lying on the couch with your shirt up, your gut popped, and your hand down your pants watching TV.
Chips all over your chest on your shirt.
You know what I'm saying?
Just burping and shit.
Yeah. Orange Cheeto dust on the remote. So feeling like roommates in a marriage is a real thing. And for him, the experience can be something, and when I say this, I'm not just hypothesizing. I like to remind people who are listening, it's not an understatement when I say that I have worked with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of men. That's actually accurate. I've worked with an exponential number of guys over the past 14 years, more than 25,000 hours. And after a while, you start to see patterns, dude. And some of the patterns that you see are, he feels like there's not as much physical intimacy as there used to be. So all of a sudden, he's aware of women out in the world while trying not to be covetous. But he's got eyes, and he's seeing women on the beach, in line at the freaking coffee shop, in Home Depot, you know what I'm saying, at the freaking theme park. Like, he's seeing women out there. And then it doesn't help that we have so much exposure to this glorified edging material that is in social media now, where everything in your news feed, eventually the algorithms are going to start feeding you soft porn if you're a dude. They're going to discover that your monkey brain is just going to click on butts and boobs and a pretty smile. And before you know it, it kind of is on your mind, and you're ramped up and you're like, hey, I want sex. And I don't just want sex. I want, validating, ookie bookie me, love you, long time, me so horny. We want that, little daddy's little girl, so to speak, persona that we all low key are kind of attracted to in a sexual environment. And she wants romance. She wants you to be putting product in your hair and shaving and putting on your nice shirt and dressing up like you give a damn, like you did in the beginning. She wants you to be texting her back and forth and be trying to figure out what you're thinking, and know that you're trying to figure out what she's thinking. She wants mystery. She wants romance. She wants a change of environment. She doesn't want to have gone from girlfriend to my old lady. That's not interesting for her. Charles, am I speaking the true here, bro?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, dude. I'm thinking about, men are from Mars and women are from Venus.
Yeah.
He talks about keeping score and the different ways that we keep score. And I think that's such a great illustration that I've used with other men to communicate the difference. I call it like keep putting money in the bank, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like if sex is an important thing, which for guys generally we care about it, right?
Yep.
And it's not just the sex, but if it's the respect and the honor and the appreciation and those other things that we hold in high regard, well, and it's like, okay, how do I create an environment where that's likely to come my way and I'm going to get the thing that I want and need? Well, it takes putting money in the bank. I think that if I planned a big Valentine's Day, right? That's a huge thing. I spent a whole bunch of money on it, right? I cleared a whole bunch of stuff from my schedule. I might have made sure the baby was taken care of for her, and I did all this stuff for this one big thing. For me, that should be $100 in the bank. But for her, it's one. Everything is just $1 in the bank. Each time I touch her, each time I praise her, each time I challenge her, flirt with her, text her, take the trash out for her, whatever, right? And it's a completely different mindset. And men have a hard time shifting that way because we just have a different value scale. And so getting men to shift into like, okay, how can I, if I know that like I want to feel connected to my wife and I know I'm going to want sex down the road, how do I start putting money in the bank now so that when I'm ready to take a withdrawal, there's money there? You know what I mean?
Right.
And that usually, does that ring true? Does that make sense? Like for you,
Yeah. So as you know, I've been using men are from Mars, women are from Venus as a cornerstone of my coaching since the 90s, because while John Gray himself is, just another dude out there who has his own problems, and in reality, he got divorced after he wrote that book, so it's kind of comical. Like, I'm still with mine, so, but I do think that he said some good stuff. I think that he really said some stuff. Sure. And what you're saying there, and look, I have these clients who are like, oh, I think it's very regressive, I think it's very heteronormative. Okay, cool story, but I'm here to tell you, I've been coaching men long enough to know that there are some things that are absolutely true. It is absolutely true that most of my guys, if we're going to talk about the 5 love languages, most of my guys tend to lean in the direction of wanting words of approval and physical touch. And that translates to like, ooh, you're such a big, strong, smart man. You're so smart. You're so brave. You're so handsome. You're the best, and boy, do I just want to, do porn stuff with you because, wow, that's just really interesting for me. Gee, daddy, you rock my world, and then, and women learn how to play that stupid persona early on because they figure it out. Men like this, like a Venus flytrap wouldn't work if it were designed to look like your taxes, like they figure out, what.
Yep.
They figure out, like nature.
Wait a second. Well, we'll just pause for everybody to digest that one. And then, all right.
Yeah, I mean, Sinatra called it the tender trap for a reason, so when women figure out, oh, I get it, men are dumb and basic and they just want food and sex and they want to be told that they're the best. Okay. And some women are on the other hand are like, yeah, if I have to do that, that's not interesting for me. So I'm going to try radical honesty and I'm going to be authentic. And they try that for a while and then they see other women doing well and they're not. And they're like, oh, God dang it. Fine. It's so big. It's the biggest I've ever seen, And he's like, oh, hell yeah. Here, let me start treating you nice and buying you stuff. Tell me more.
Even though I know you're lying, I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to buy you stuff.
Tell me more about the chick you hate at work. There's nothing I'd rather listen to.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's funny.
And then what did she say? And then what did you say? I'd rather listen to this than play Call of Duty. I'll tell you that right now.
Hey, money in the bank works for women too.
Money in the bank. And so when this
No, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was going to say, and so like when this dude, John Gray, when he wrote this book and he came up with this idea that you alluded to, which is this point system for anybody unindoctrinated, he just basically says, fly her to, Hawaii and throw rose petals all over the bed and, treat her to her favorite food, fly her best friends out, do this extravagant thing. In your world, that is high on the point system. That would last you for about a year. In her world, that's 1 point. 1 point, no matter how grandiose your gesture, frequency is more important than grandiosity. So if you bring home her favorite food, you get a point. If you text her a little heart when she is least expecting it, you get a point. If you buy her something really nice, and I mean really nice, some freaking $9,000 Dolce Gabbana bag or some crap, you get 1 point. And that's enough to piss you off because that if she came home, or whatever, you came home and she were just wearing, lingerie and handed you a plate of ribs and the remote and a cold beer and said, I want you to really enjoy yourself. And I'm just going to go either hang out here real quiet and snuggle up to you and be your little cuddle bunny, or I'm going to go do something that is totally going to just keep me in a really good mood. And when you're done, let's go into the bedroom and make sweet love with that giant thing you're packing. Then you'd be like, you'd wake up in the morning, you'd be high-fiving your enemies, you'd be whistling, you'd be like throwing deuces to people cutting you off in traffic. You're like, hey, what's up? All right, everybody. That's 100 points. Charles, am I right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, and so the effort matters. The effort that we used to put in, it's got to come back. And that's what we've got to help men understand. The funny thing is that what I've seen is when I've seen this distance and this chasm get created between two people and everything's just kind of, the romance has disappeared and died down, is that I've seen men just go first, right? It's just go first with giving the affirmation to her, with doing kind things for her, right? With filling her tank, filling her point system, putting money in the bank. And what I almost all the time see in response is the woman begins to respond and change her behavior without being even prompted or requested, right? When all of a sudden the man is taking the ownership of And the reason I'm talking about the men is because we're on the Bro Coach podcast. That's kind of, we're talking to the guys here and your accountability and your responsibility. If you start taking accountability for it.
Right.
Yeah. If you quit being the victim and going, man, she doesn't fucking dress up or get sexy or whisper that cool shit in my ear anymore or whatever, food's never on here, or she always only wants to talk about her shit. She never wants to talk about anything interesting. Well, like, cool. Okay. As a challenge, and I've done this plenty of times, as a challenge for a week or 30 days, right? You take responsibility for doing all the things to meet her needs, to put money in the bank, and don't require anything from her from it, and just see if her behavior changes. Every single time it gets results. Every single time she speaks up and goes, wow, I really noticed you've been doing all this. This is kind of awesome. I really appreciate it. And then she makes some gesture of her own, right? Without a shadow of a doubt. Now, you're not gonna get more out of a relationship than you're putting into it.
That's right. And I'm going to pivot because I have a client, and I'm not going to call him by name, obviously, like, put his personal information out here in the street, but he's going to think that he's going to know I'm talking about him when I talk about him. It's probably going to be uncomfortable, but this is a guy I think about a lot. Okay. You and I are giving some very good high level suggestions. If your wife feels like you're a roommate, I'm hearing a thunking, by the way, just so you know, man, your mic's picking up some percussion there. Your wife feels like you're a roommate. The number one reason, as we've discussed, is because she wants reassurance constantly that you care about the things she cares about, that you're aware of the stuff she's doing and you appreciate it rather than taking her for granted. Even if she takes the stuff you're doing for granted, that's a separate conversation. But I'm just saying what she wants, like the trash doesn't take itself out, right? The car doesn't change its own oil, all the passwords for all the freaking computers and shit don't just magically happen. Somebody's resetting the router, all that. But regardless of what you think it is that you do that she's not aware of or appreciative of, I'm talking about if you're knocking on a door and the door is not opening, it's because she's feeling like there is a need that you aren't meeting in the romantic department, where she wants you to be more romantic. And romantic doesn't just mean like in the cartoons where dude like shows up with like flowers and candy and his nicest suit and some shit in his hair, and a top hat and some tails, some real Tom and Jerry shit. It means more than that. It means like, hey, babe, like, how are you? Like, who are you? Like, I don't feel like we've really talked in a while. Like, you can tell me anything, even if it's that you hate me and think about leaving me. Like, I'm available to hear your thoughts and give you a place to feel safe. This is a word women use all the time. To feel safe. Not safe, I'll protect you from the bad guys, but emotionally safe to say anything that you want without getting shut down. And that's where I'm going to pivot to this one client who I sort of alluded to. I've got a client. Let me describe this guy. Handsome guy. Like, so handsome that dudes tell him he's handsome. Women are just like constantly going to his wife going, oh my God, he's so handsome. How did you get that? And she's like, yeah, I know. Like everybody says it. I get it. Yeah, he's handsome. Brilliant. I'm telling you, this is a brilliant guy. I know smart people, and I'm telling you, this dude is definitely a brilliant guy. I don't use that term often. He's a brilliant guy. Wonderful father. Real, like, again, I'm a dad. I'm saying Homie is a wonderful father. Earns well. They live, very well. There's money there. And he does the best he can to be nice because he's secretly not somebody who thinks of himself as handsome, not somebody who thinks of himself as making a whole lot of money, not somebody who necessarily thinks of himself as a great dad or a great person. He's a dude, and he's constantly thinking, I could be doing better. So he's not full of himself at all. And he's a handsome, athletic, virile, high test male who is going nuts because he's in a long-term marriage, and he's, he's not just getting out of the relationship isn't an option. He's not going to bust up his home for religious reasons, for family reasons. And the closest he can get to having sex is with his wife is her saying, like fine, let's do it and get it over with. And then complaining through the whole thing, like how much she doesn't like it. Now, listen, I know that there are women out there who have had sexual trauma. I actually come from a childhood of sexual, predation. So I understand that. I'm not trying to victim shame somebody who has that in their history. But my dude is gridlocked into a relationship where, as a coach, literally all the generic stuff that you and I are talking about, put money in the bank, remember the point system, ask her how she feels, ask her if she needs to talk, pay attention to her love languages. She wants acts of service and quality time. Right. You want touch and validation. Dude has literally studied every book, gone to the top of every mountain, confronted every guru, and his truth is he's married to a woman who just thinks sex is gross and she doesn't like doing it and she doesn't want it with him, and it just makes him feel like, of all these women out here in the world, with everybody telling me how smart I am, how handsome I am, what a great dad I am, I get one woman, and you not only aren't meeting me happily in an intimate physical relationship, you're literally making me feel like a bad person, like I'm a dog who just shit on the rug when we have sex. Mm-hmm. Now, welcome to my world. What would you do in that situation? I'm really putting a guy's truth out here because somebody out there might be like, okay, finally, you're talking to me.
Sure.
What do you do there, dude?
Well, I have questions for sure.
Come on.
I mean, like when did that start? Was that always the case? Because they have children, right? So I can't help but think, okay, so there was a slippery slope of something taking place along the way, that slowly chipped away at or eroded their physical intimacy.
Right.
Or
now,
her desire. Now, I'd be real curious, can we remember when this started?
Right. So again, all the voices in my head are screaming, nuke this, nuke this, nuke this, nuke this. You're going to get in trouble. Killing Me Softly with his song, like I'm putting too much information out there. If my guy hears it, he's going to be like, dude, it's obvious you're talking about me. What if my wife hears this? So I'm trying to be careful, but I feel like at the same time, I think about this guy a lot. If I could give him one thing, it's like if you could save a cancer patient, or if you could bring somebody's dead parent back or something, if I could just get out my magic wand and give this guy one thing, it would be for his wife to get over whatever her childhood trauma is, get over whatever her body dysmorphia is, embrace her sexuality in a way that makes her feel empowered, and learn how to have meaningful, intimate touch and cuddling and foreplay. We're not just talking up against a wall like monkey sex here, like all the sweet stuff that it would take to kind of bring her out. And dude is so on board, man. Dude is on board. He's like, I will do anything, but it's just weird to me. And one of the challenges that he's up against is it's his perception that she's not 100% honest with herself about the degree of trauma that's there. And so my suggestion is like, yo, this might be beyond life coaching. This might be something that heads in the direction of like some sort of, psychiatric solution. And the problem there is, if you've ever been a man in couples counseling, you've had the experience of the couples counselor working really hard to win the wife over because he understands that she controls the dynamic here. Yeah. That we all just know, like if you're a dude, you know that. And I don't care if it's a woman or a man, it's always going to be the dude is guilty until proven innocent. That's just how this shit goes. It's just like family court. And it is what it is. I get it. Yeah. Oh, it's a patriarchy. Okay. Well, here's some things you don't know about being male.
Statistically, that's just what it is.
It is what it is. So if these guys go to therapy, the challenge that he has experienced before is he's like, she just doesn't tell the truth. He's like, therapist says, have you ever had any childhood trauma? And she says, no. And she has one of the worst childhoods I've ever heard from anybody in the world. What the fuck do I do with that on day one of therapy? And I'm sitting here praying to actual God over here, like, please create a miracle in this couple's life. I don't just mean in this man's life. I'm not like sitting here saying, please, dear God, like, like make her. Yeah,
Can I ask some more questions? Because my mind's racing here, man. And
dude, welcome to our world. What you got?
It seems to me that there's got to be some level of underlying resentment and lack of respect. Like at some point, something happened and she lost respect. And there's got to be some, and this is just an opinion based off of what I've observed over the years, right? Is like some level of resentment that she's not willing to deal with or face, that. And the reason I say that, like, I've had this situation. I don't know if you've had it, and I don't even know your feelings about this before, but I've had this situation where I've been working with a guy, and in particular, I am that kind of religious guy. Like, I don't think divorce is a good option. Like it's the nuclear option to me. Like it has to be. Absolutely. And so what I generally help men do is strengthen their romantic relationships. I help them reignite the flames with their spouses or their significant others or the ones they've chosen for the moment. But there has been situations before though, where I just spoke to a guy I used to work with yesterday, man, and he was calling to tell me about how thrilled he was. He just got a promotion and he's going to be a 7-figure a year earner. And that's from 4 years ago when he was living on a friend's couch and now he's making $1 million plus a year, and married to a beautiful woman who loves and respects and adores him and treats him all the ways he wants to be treated. and he's got a better relationship with his daughter. All that is coming off the tail end of when he was working with me. He was in a 15-year marriage that was abusive and neglectful. And that was one of the few cases where I found my responsibility through this process of, process of elimination, that, hey, it's time to have some really difficult conversations to see if there is a willingness to go forward cohesively. And if not, it's time to exit. Like that's not a, or you just need to decide, is this something you're just willing to live with for the rest of your life? And it was devastating at first, and it was difficult and emotional, and a profound shift, in his paradigm in life. But it's also led to, he's thriving and his child is thriving, and his business is thriving, and he's happier than he's ever been in his entire life. Right. Sometimes if a person just shows zero willingness to do what's necessary to heal and deal in a relationship, then that has to just be acknowledged for what it is. And then it becomes a different conversation. It stops being, okay, how can I win this person over? Or how can I, influence their behavior or get them to respond in a healthy way to me, to hey, there's got to be a clear boundary set and a harder conversation have, and some consequences.
Hey man, stop spinning your wheels. If you're serious about leveling up your career, your relationships, and your mindset, it's time to man up. At Man Up Life Coaching, we cut the excuses and build discipline, confidence, and purpose. Book your free strategy session now at manuplifecoaching.com/application. Don't fill it out if you're not ready to grind, but if you are, this call could change your life. Man Up Life Coaching, elite life coaching for men by men.
So I won't lie, I'm sitting here thinking, have I said too much? Have I said too much? Have I said too much? Because this is such a very specific situation that even though there's probably a bunch of guys out there that can relate to it, when it's about you, it feels like it's about you. And I'm like, man, am I going to have to let dude listen to this before I let it out and say, are you okay with this? But I'm going to double down on it, and I'm going to follow my gut. And I'm going to say, without giving enough information that it's legally inarguable that it's this guy. This is a person who comes from a religious background, and has no interest in a divorce, having been married in the church, and who also does not want to bust up his home, having, kids who depend a lot on the institution of their seemingly stable household, and having mom and dad as a unit. And so, as we know that there are many women over the course of the, decades, if not centuries, who have gone through entire marriages, sexually and romantically unfulfilled, and just dealt with it because they did it for the kids. And they also did it because they didn't want to seem like a bad person. I think this gentleman in question is someone who, I know that I would do anything to keep my home together. I would do anything to keep my home together. You know, I don't want to not be together as a family. Sure. But as a coach, you said, I don't know if you agree with this or you believe in this or whatever. Dude, I'm going to be honest with you and tell you that I don't put divorce on the same sort of value sort of setting on the slider as I would put something like abortion. I would sooner suggest that someone get a divorce than I would for them to suggest that they get an abortion. I just fundamentally don't like the idea of abortion. I don't like it. I'm not a fan. That having been said, I have historically voted pro-choice, and I have unfortunately been the guy who paid for a couple of abortions. But as a grown man, you know, when my partner Celia and I got pregnant with Bennett, after only 3 months of being together, we were both pro-choice at that time, and we both agreed I would not be able to live with myself knowing that I terminated this possible life. And we decided whether we stay together or not is a different story, but we're going to go ahead and follow through with this kid. So Bennett turns 16 on the 30th of this month, and we celebrate 17 years on August 15th. So you do a little quick math there, right? Yeah. But as far as the divorce thing goes, I have been in situations with a client where he was being abused. He was being cheated on. He was being emotionally abused. And I'm talking about a big, strapping, macho man. I'm not talking about some little pussy motherfucker. I'm talking about like a big ass man. People don't get it. They're like, oh, that's so beta. You know, it's not, dude. You don't get it. A woman, it's like Samson and Delilah. A woman can break a man.
Yeah.
Like, and if you don't understand that, then you're stupid. A woman can 100% break a man. Period. Absolutely. A woman can break a man. Yeah. A woman is strong, a woman is resilient, and a woman is determined, and a woman can break a man. And this woman broke this man and had him totally strung out. And after working with him we still work together more than 10 years later, off and on. I mean, it hasn't been straight through, but he came back and we're working together again. And all his kids are grown and in college and everything. But anyway, this guy that I'm thinking of, this second guy that I'm alluding to, he needed to get divorced. There was just no two ways about it. And he did, and he married the woman he's with now, and she is a blessing, and they lived happily ever after. And I would hate to think of him still in that old relationship with that, frankly, very broken and complicated and toxic woman that he was with. So as far as this fella goes, it's a bummer because there isn't really enough grounds to just divorce because she's fine. Mm-hmm. But this is a dude who doesn't feel especially good about his body when I'm telling you, like, not in a gay way, but I'm just saying, dude is like he's a unit. He's a very physical guy, and he looks like a handsome dude. He would be probably an 8.5 by most women's standards, and because there's no such thing as a 10 in women's standards.
6'9".
That doesn't exist, right? It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist, dude. It doesn't exist. So, and I'll even go a little further and say that I met with her because I've been known to do that. That's kind of a in and out sort of hidden menu item. I do meet with women and do couples counseling, but I don't put it on the menu, but that's a thing that we do. And so I met with her. And when I met with her, she was like, yeah, it's all in his head. I would be totally down and totally into it. But after feeling this thing out for a while, I've come around and I'm like, I think dude's telling the truth. And I think she's complicated. So here we are. You're feeling like roommates in marriage. I guess this is where you say, hey, there is a point at which there are right things that you can try. We talked about them in this call. You can ask her what her needs are that she feels aren't being met and write it down. And if you can't decipher it, bring it to somebody like me or Charles. Right? Don't go to your friends. They're stupid. They're well-intentioned, but they're going to give you bad advice. Sorry. Go to a coach who specializes in, relationship healing, repair, and wellness and betterment. That's not going to throw her under the bus and go, well, she's a dumb cunt. That's not what we're looking for. But go to somebody who will say, hey, she has needs. You got provide, protect, perform down, but you need to work on respect, empathy, and presence. She's telling you that. You're saying, but you're not actually doing it. Here are some tools. Here are some practices. And those are things like ask her if she needs to talk. When she when she talks, listen. Don't defend. Don't contradict her. Don't say, well, actually. Just listen. Recognize that feelings aren't facts. Her feelings are valid. If she says she wants to kill you, it means she feels like she wants to kill you, not that there's a literal threat. She says she wants to leave you. It doesn't mean she's going to leave you. It means that she can't leave you because she loves you, which is why she's telling you she's freaking frustrated with you. And all she wants you to do is say, that sounds really like a lot. I'm really sorry. Let's work on it. So this is what Charles and I are telling you. If you want sex, more quality time, more acts of service, more conversation, more romance, more presence, and make her feel like she's sharing an experience with you, that she's in the relationship with another friend with benefits, because she's interested in, it works on both sides. We're humans. We like sex usually. But if you are in a relationship like this poor guy that I keep talking about, that is a one-off, where either, like in my guy's case, where you're doing all the things and she's saying, I appreciate your efforts, but I'm just sorry, I'm not feeling it. Or if you're with someone, I have another client. I said, well, why don't you try taking her out on dates? No, she doesn't want to go out on dates because she says she doesn't trust me. She doesn't like me. She doesn't feel close to me. Have you tried picking up some extra chores? Yes. Have you tried telling her she's beautiful and complimenting her and being real careful not to criticize her? Yes. Have you tried making sure you're not doing anything toxic? Yes. I think she just hates me for some reason. She's got a lot of resentment. She's done. She's cooked. She doesn't like me, but she's stuck because we have kids and we're very religious, and there's no way. This is a Jewish family. They're Orthodox, and there's no way they're getting divorced, period. So what do you do when you're the guy who's one of these dudes that we're talking about, where everything that you're offering isn't working? You have two choices, huh, Charles?
Yeah.
One, you can say to yourself, this sucks, but I'm committed to the institution of marriage, and I don't want to be someone who divorces. That's not interesting for me. I also don't want to bust up a family. And so I am just going to accept that I am in a relationship that doesn't check all the boxes, but I'm going to stoically just kind of move through this and try to get happiness from nature, try to get happiness from exercise, try to get happiness from my engagement with my children, work on myself and make myself look as attractive as possible. And I'm not going to cheat on her, because that's just how I rock. And I'm just going to say, I don't know why, God or the universe or however you want to put it, put me in this situation. Maybe it's some kind of test, but I'm not getting divorced. I'm not breaking up my happy home as far as my children are concerned. And if my wife and I have to just be pleasant with each other at best, then I'm going to keep trying to be the man she needs me to be. And if it doesn't come around, then I guess daddy just took one for the team. And that sucks, but that is a possibility. And that needs to be in here. Otherwise, there's going to be somebody who says, I tried all your little coaching shit and it didn't work. Now what? Like my client. And the other alternative is, maybe I need a new religion because I'm not doing this shit. Maybe today's the day I become a Buddhist, because I'm not trying to do this anymore, man. This is not okay. Well, you know what? Maybe my kids will be nice and happy coming over to daddy's place and nice and happy going to mommy's place. And when they meet daddy's new girlfriend, they'll feel the love, and that will actually add value to their life. Rather, that'll add joy to their life. And I have those clients too. I have a client right now. He's got 3 daughters. He got divorced. It was brutal. He then had a girlfriend that also went south. Came to Man Up Life Coaching. Now he has the most awesome woman in the world. I can't wait for them to get married. And his 3 daughters love, and I mean love, his girlfriend, who's clearly his fiance. They're all living together. I could literally cry actual tears thinking of joy, thinking about how much this man has been through and how happy his life is now. And he is religious. So I don't know, Charles, what do you think, man? What do you think about everything I've said?
Oh, brother, I think, it is always worth going on a fact-finding mission and doing some inventory anytime when you're presented with a difficulty like this in life. And usually how I encourage men is first do your own inventory.
That's like, real.
Okay.
Yep.
Am I putting money in the bank? Am I doing the things? Am I being honest with myself? Because a lot of times I'll say, or I'll think I'm doing the things, and I'm not. I'm missing the connection with her. I'm not really being present. I'm not really listening to what she's saying to me. So always do the inventory and the fact-finding mission on yourself first, but then it becomes invite them into the process. One of the things that I knew I had a keeper in my wife was, so I was reading Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, and she was like, hey, what's that? I was like, well, I work with this coach, and this is an important book, and it's talking about the difference between masculine and feminine energy and how men and women relate in relationships and connect and communicate differently. And I'm just trying to learn about and get educated about this. She was like, okay. And 3 days later, I saw her reading the same book.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, she gets it, And I knew I'd had someone who was moving in the same direction with me. And that if I saw something as important, it was important to her also. Right. And that's continued to be a theme throughout our relationship. And I find with most men, if we're finding there's something that's important to me or to you that's not important to her, you may need to go on a fact-finding mission and figure out why. Generally speaking, when you love someone and you care about them, if something's important to them, you're willing to make some space for it and it become important to you, especially if it's the closest person to you in your entire life. And if that's not, then why is it that they don't? Why is there is it trauma? Is it
Right.
Did I do something? Did I actually do something to cause this personally?
Right.
Because like, and you just maybe don't know how to say it, and maybe I haven't asked enough questions, or maybe you just have a safe enough place to talk about it, or you feel like I'm going to lay into you if you tell me the truth, right? Or you feel like it's just not worth it anymore, right? But like, there needs, in my opinion, we need to go on a fact-finding mission. And if it's, hey, this is do or die, and we said that and we meant that, and hey, I'm not changing religions and I'm not giving up, one of us are going to fucking die, in this relationship, then it's like, all right, cool. Then let's go on a fact-finding mission and just spend time getting to know this person a year again, because over 5, 10, 15 years, I don't know who I'm with, obviously, because I don't understand why you don't care about something that's so important to me.
That's right. I think you said something in there that I'm aware of time. I know we got about 8 minutes here. But I want to circle back to something that you said. You said you made a distinction between 3 things. One was, maybe I'm going through the motions, but I'm doing it robotically, but I'm not really present, right? Like, I remember being in bed with women and literally stopping and kind of just putting a hand on either side of her face and looking at her and going, "Are you here?"
Yeah.
Never go, "What?" And being like, I don't know. I just kind of feel like you're like, oh yeah, or whatever. And you're like, but you're not, I don't feel like you're really here with me. Like,
yeah.
Like, I'm not just trying to fuck somebody. I'm trying to like make love to you. Like, are you here?
Yeah.
And
that can happen in marriage. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Like, we're showing up, we're ticking boxes, but the actual connection, the thing that fuels us, that's at the center of life, period. Right? It's like, no, that thing's missing, and we have to talk until we figure out why.
It's the connection. The whole point is the connection. It's the connection.
The whole point. It's the whole point.
It's the connection. And so
where was the connection lost?
Right. So let me circle back to those 3 things I was going to talk about. The one was that you might be phoning things in, doing it robotically, but failing to make the connection. That was one thing that you said. The second was, she may have some trauma, and that's not your fault. You can't go get a rescue dog and expect it to act like a dog that doesn't have a past. You know what I mean? I have a real nice, I'm not comparing women to dogs, but I'm just saying, like, my dog Hannah is just a sweetheart. In a million years, she would never bite me. I could do anything to her. She would never bite me. That's just not who she is. But I've had dogs that were beat up, and they'll love you just fine, but there's a point at which they click, and that trauma clicks in, right? And then I've seen some dogs that are just not tameable. They're like, fight dogs, or they've got PTSD from some, real bad experience, and they're not people dogs. So sometimes you will end up in a relationship with somebody who wants to be in a relationship so bad that they successfully fake being able to have a relationship, and then they finally give up and they can't do it anymore, and they will gaslight the hell out of you and tell you it's all your fault, because they don't want it to be that it's their trauma and that they're broken and that they're the problem. And so I have several clients who are in that situation where she's broken, She's gaslighting him. He's simping for her. And the reality is, no, it's you. And either go to therapy and fix your shit, or I don't know, I can't do this anymore. And that's fair. I'm sorry, but that is fair. But then the third thing you said, which that was the whole reason that I circled back, was, but make sure it's not something you did that she has resentment for. And that's huge. That's huge. I have a guy who is finding out that after 20 years of being married, his wife literally started resenting him the day he joined the military and shipped off. Mm-hmm. And they got buku kids, and they're like all the way deep into being married, and they're very like religious and legalistic about their faith. And there's no way in the world they're getting divorced, but her resentment is extreme. And in my working with him, I've finally gotten him to realize, dude, she was kind of trying to tell you for 20 years that she was unhappy. And you played the I'm the man, large and in charge, father knows best role. She sucked it up, but now you're dealing with a woman who isn't, in her 20s anymore. She's in her late 40s or mid to late 40s, and she's saying, yeah, I'm mad. Mm-hmm. Oh, you want to have sex? Huh. Interesting. I wanted to have a relationship for 20 years. And that is a tough one. So if you're in a relationship where you feel it slipping away, and I guess I'm playing this off stage. If you're in a relationship let me give you some keywords. If your wife feels like a roommate in your marriage, if you feel emotionally disconnected, if your marriage feels empty, if you're feeling like roommates in your marriage and you're slowly drifting apart, if this is you found this because you were Googling for this, because this is your situation. Well, what Charles and I have spent the past hour talking about is, one, if it's just starting to cool down a little bit and you feel it, brother, you better get ahead of it. And you better start, as he said, putting money in the bank. And her piggy bank only takes $1 at a time. So if you're trying to get $100 in, love equity into that bank, then you better start sending a lot of notes saying, I love you, asking her if she needs to talk, washing her dishes, learning where the kids' laundry goes when it gets folded, maybe fold it yourself, figure out who your kids' doctors are, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Figure out what
schools they go to, yeah.
Right. Get on the same page.
Real extreme shit.
Right. Walk a mile in her shoes, not her high heels, but walk a mile in her shoes and understand why she's in sweats with her, legs unshaved and her hair all cattywampus. It's because she's given up, because she feels alone and frustrated. Catch up. Help her. If you're looking for physical touch and words of validation, then you can validate her by giving her constant reassurance that you love her, that you appreciate her, that you're thinking about her, and that your acts of service demonstrates that you understand how tedious her job is and that you're trying to help. If you're someone who it feels like you're too far gone and you're in a sexless relationship and you can feel that the resentment is there, either it's a tension that's so thick you could cut it with a knife, or she's just straight out said, I don't feel close to you. I don't like you as a person. I don't feel any love for you. I'm just in this for the kids and because I don't believe in divorce. Then you need to figure out for yourself, did I do this? Did I do this? And if you can talk to her and ask her and get her to tell you what it is that you did and listen without defending and without prejudice and you try to fix it. If you can fix it on your own, fantastic. If not, come holler at one of us, man. We got you.
Yeah.
Right? Come holler at us. Or go to marriage counseling. I don't care. I'm not trying to get your money. I'm just trying to fix your shit. And the third option, if you're in a situation where it's really not you, it's her, and you're sure of it, like you're sure. Your friends are telling you, your family's telling you, your rabbi or your priest or your pastor is telling you, then you have two choices. Stay for the family, take it on the chin, and just accept that this is your lot and just man up and just carry your family on your back. Or it might be time to talk about what changing your situation looks like. Charles, have I said anything wrong in this call, man?
No, it's pretty good, man.
Thank you. Your input is good too. All right. Well, listen, it's kind of a sober note to leave you guys on. But I don't think it's really like a shuck and jive moment here. So I'll just say, if this hits you in your heart and if you're ready to make a change, man, for one thing, please continue to follow the Bro Coach podcast, because we're here doing stuff to help you as a man to stay alive. We're trying to reduce the male suicide rate. We're trying to make sure that you don't feel alone. So you can come ride with us, man. We want to be your friend, and we want you to know that we understand. And if you do feel like you need help, hit one of us up or find any other coach who works with men, because that might be the solution to your problem. That's it for this episode of the Bro Coach. We love you, bro, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Yep. Love you guys.